Ever feel like, like the universe is just messing with you? Like
Yeah.
when everything just goes wrong?
Right.
Like you burn your toast and you miss your train and then your phone dies.
Oh, yeah.
All before like 9 a.m.
Happens to the best of us.
Well, today we're diving into a story about a guy who had that kind of day like times 1,000.
Oh.
So buckle up because we are going deep into the book of Job
Okay.
and exploring how one man handles a level of tragedy that is just mind-blowing.
It's a story that has really captivated readers for centuries. I mean,
Mhm.
Job's journey through just unimaginable loss
Right.
and suffering forces us to confront some of life's biggest questions
Yeah.
about faith, justice, and even the very nature of good and evil.
Right. It's heavy stuff.
It is.
So first things first,
Okay.
who is this Job guy?
Right.
He's described in the book as blameless and upright, suggesting a person of unwavering moral character.
Yeah.
But he wasn't just a good guy.
Right.
He was seriously wealthy.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking flocks of sheep herds, of camels, oxen galore.
Huh?
This guy was like the ancient world's Jeff Bezos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And his wealth, it wasn't just about material possessions.
Yeah.
It was a powerful symbol at that time.
Okay,
It reflected his blessed status, a sign of God's favor.
I see.
So imagine a life where everything you touch turns to gold.
Wow.
That was Job's reality.
And get this, not only was he wealthy and righteous,
Right.
but he was also incredibly devout.
Yes.
The book mentions that he regularly offered sacrifices for his children,
Mm-hmm.
just in case they had unknowingly sinned.
Wow.
Now that's what I call taking parenting seriously.
It shows the depth of his piety
Yeah.
and his desire to live in accordance with God's will.
Mhm.
He was concerned not just for his own righteousness, but for that of his entire household.
Okay, so we've got this picture of a man who seemingly has it all.
Right.
Wealth family, a
Mm.
strong moral compass.
Yeah.
You'd think life would be smooth sailing, right?
You would think. Well, here's where the story takes a dramatic turn.
Okay.
We're introduced to a scene in heaven
Right.
where God is, shall we say, boasting about Job to Satan.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating setup.
Hey.
God presents Job as this model of human righteousness, which prompts Satan to challenge God's assessment.
So Satan's like, nah, I don't think so.
Right.
Okay.
He argues that Job is only good because his life is so blessed, implying that if you take away all those blessings, Job's faith will crumble.
So it's like a cosmic bet.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh.
God allows Satan to test Job, but with one crucial condition.
What's that?
He can't harm Job physically.
Oh.
And this is where things get really interesting, because it raises these profound questions about the nature of free will suffering and the limits of human understanding.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
So what happens next?
Okay.
Does Satan subtly influence Job's stock portfolio or something?
Not quite.
Okay.
Instead, he unleashes a series of calamities.
That strike Job with the force of a hurricane.
Oh, wow.
Each disaster is more devastating than the last, meticulously crafted to just strip away everything Job holds dear.
So this is where the story gets intense.
Yes.
It starts with raiders stealing Job's oxen and donkeys, essentially wiping out his workforce and transportation.
Right.
Then fire rains down from the sky,
Oh, wow.
consuming his entire flock of sheep. It's like each blow is designed to chip away at his prosperity and test the limits of his faith.
And it doesn't stop there.
Oh, no.
Another group of raiders, the Chaldeans,
Okay.
they swoop in and steal all his camels, decimating what's left of his livelihood.
Wow.
The author masterfully builds tension using this literary technique where each messenger brings increasingly worse news.
Oh, man, talk about a bad day.
It's a really bad day.
But it gets worse, right?
Tragically, yes.
Oh, no.
As if losing his wealth wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Job is then struck with an unimaginable personal loss.
Okay.
A powerful windstorm collapses the house where his children are celebrating. Oh my God.
Killing them all in an instant.
Oh, wow.
It's a level of grief that's almost impossible to comprehend.
Okay, so he's lost his fortune, his livelihood, and now his children.
It's devastating.
If this was a movie, I'd be yelling at the screen like, give the guy a break already.
Right.
Like, come on.
It's relentless.
Yeah.
Just this assault on everything Job holds dear.
Wow.
Pushing him to the absolute brink of despair. And it's in this moment of absolute devastation that we really see Job's character revealed.
Okay.
He tears his clothes, shaves his head, classic signs of mourning in his time,
Yeah.
and falls to the ground in utter despair.
So he's completely broken.
Yeah.
Honestly, who wouldn't be after all that?
Right. But here's the remarkable part.
Okay.
Even in his deepest anguish, Job doesn't curse God.
Really?
Instead, he utters those famous words, "The Lord gave and the Lord has taken away.
Wow.
Blessed be the name of the Lord."
I mean, I get choked up when my favorite sports team loses.
Right.
This is on a whole other level.
It's incredible. To lose everything and still bless God's name.
It's powerful.
That's some serious faith.
It's a testament to the depth of his belief
Yeah.
and his unwavering commitment to God's sovereignty.
Okay.
He acknowledges that even in suffering, God is still in control.
It almost makes you wonder if Job had some kind of inner strength that most people lack.
Perhaps, but it's important to remember that Job's faith wasn't passive acceptance.
Okay.
The story doesn't shy away from his raw emotions, his questioning, his anger.
Uh-huh.
In fact, shortly after this moment of surrender, Job's friends arrive.
Okay.
And let's just say they don't exactly offer the kind of comfort he needs.
Oh, this is the part where they basically tell him it's his own fault.
Exactly.
Okay.
They represent a very human response to suffering.
Okay.
The need to find a reason to place blame.
Right.
They can't fathom that sometimes bad things happen to good people for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
They insist that Job must have done something to deserve this,
Mm-hmm.
that his suffering is a punishment for some hidden sin.
It's interesting how people sometimes try to rationalize suffering. Like, if someone is going through a hard time, it must be because of something they did.
It's a way of trying to make sense of a world that often feels chaotic and unfair.
Right.
It gives us a sense of control, the illusion that if we live right, we can avoid suffering.
Okay.
But the book of Job challenges that notion, suggesting that suffering is a part of the human experience regardless of our actions.
So how does Job respond to his friends' accusations?
Right.
Does he just accept their judgment?
Not at all.
Okay.
Even in his weakened state, Job vehemently defends his innocence.
So he's like, hey, I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he argues with his friends,
Okay.
challenging their assumptions and demanding an explanation from God.
He's like, hey, God, if you're really up there, you owe me an answer.
It's not blasphemy.
Yeah.
It's a raw and honest expression of his pain and confusion.
Okay.
He's grappling with this age-old problem of suffering the seeming silence of God in the midst of our greatest trials.
Yeah.
He's not giving up on his faith.
But he's certainly not afraid to question it.
That resonates with me. I
Yeah.
think most people at some point in their lives have felt that frustration, that sense of, why is this happening to me?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Job becomes a stand-in for all of us who have wrestled with doubt
Right.
and questioned the fairness of life.
But does he ever get those answers he's looking for?
Yeah.
Does God ever directly address Job's questions?
Well, not in the way Job might expect.
Okay.
After a long and agonizing period of debate, God finally speaks to Job,
Yeah.
but not from some heavenly throne room.
Okay.
He speaks from a whirlwind,
A whirlwind.
a powerful symbol of nature's raw and untamed energy.
Ooh, dramatic.
Right.
So what does God say? Does he explain why all this happened to Job?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Instead of providing direct answers, God challenges Job's limited perspective.
Okay.
He asks a series of questions,
Mm-hmm.
highlighting the vastness and complexity of creation. So it's like God is saying, look, Job, you're focused on your little corner of the universe,
Yeah,
but I'm dealing with a much bigger picture.
precisely.
Wow.
God reminds Job that human understanding is finite,
Yeah.
that we can't always grasp the reasons behind suffering.
It's kind of like when you were a kid
Yeah.
and your parents wouldn't let you do something.
Right,
And
yeah.
you'd be like, but why?
Yeah.
And they'd just say, because I said so.
Exactly.
Obviously, God's reasons are a little more profound than that, but the principle is similar.
Right.
Sometimes we just have to trust, even when we don't fully understand.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And that trust, that faith is refined through the fires of suffering and doubt.
Right.
It's not blind or passive.
Yeah.
It's a hard-won conviction that emerges from wrestling with the unknown.
So after this whirlwind encounter, does Job just say, okay, I get it now, sorry for bothering you,
Right.
and go back to his life?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Okay.
Job is humbled by the experience.
Mhm.
He recognizes the limitations of his own understanding
Yeah.
and reaffirms his submission to God's will.
Okay.
The book doesn't tell us exactly what was going through his mind,
Right.
but we can infer that he found some measure of peace in surrendering to the mystery of God's plan.
So he doesn't get all the answers,
Right.
but he comes to a place of acceptance.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is where the story takes another interesting turn.
All right.
In the final chapters of the book, Job's fortunes are restored.
Oh, really?
He's given new children, his wealth is doubled, and he lives a long and prosperous life.
Wait, so after all that suffering,
I...
he gets a happy ending.
Well, it depends on how you interpret it.
Okay.
Some see the restoration of Job's fortune as a reward for his faithfulness,
Yeah.
but others view it more as a symbol of God's grace and compassion.
It's almost like the book is saying that even if we don't understand the reasons behind our suffering,
Yeah.
even if we question and doubt,
Right.
God's love and mercy are still available to us.
That's a powerful message.
Yeah. But it's also sparked debate over the centuries.
Right.
Some argue that the ending feels tacked on, that it undermines the powerful message of Job's struggle.
You mean like it's a bit too neat and tidy?
Exactly.
Right.
It raises the question of whether true faith should be motivated by the promise of reward or the threat of punishment.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But regardless of how you interpret the ending,
Right.
there's no denying that Job's story is a powerful exploration of the human condition.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a story that's resonated for thousands of years.
Yeah.
So it must be tapping into something universal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Job's journey reflects our own experiences with pain loss and the struggle to make sense of a world that often feels unfair.
It really makes you think, like,
Yeah.
here's Job,
Right.
a man who loses everything,
Uh-huh.
his wealth, his children, his health.
Unbelievable.
And yet he never completely abandons his faith.
Right.
How is that even possible?
It's remarkable. Honestly, like sometimes when my internet's down for like an hour, I start questioning the meaning of life.
It speaks to the profound resilience of the human spirit and the power of belief to sustain us through the darkest of times.
Right.
Remember, Job wasn't a passive bystander in his suffering. He wrestled with God, he questioned, he raged,
Yeah.
but ultimately he chose to hold on to his faith.
Okay.
It's a nuanced and complex portrayal of belief.
Mhm.
Not blind acceptance,
Right.
but an active struggle to reconcile faith with the harsh realities of existence.
I guess it's that struggle that ultimately strengthens our beliefs,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Like if it were easy, everyone would do it.
Precisely.
Right.
It's through questioning, through grappling with doubt that our beliefs are tested and refined.
Mm-hmm.
Job's story reminds us that it's okay to question, to wrestle with the big questions, to seek answers.
So if we were to like zoom out and think about the bigger picture,
Yeah.
why does this ancient story still matter today?
Yeah.
Why should we sitting here in the 21st century
Yeah.
care about the trials and tribulations of a guy who lived thousands of years ago?
Because Job's story isn't just about one man's suffering.
Okay.
It's a reflection of the human condition.
Right.
We all experience pain, loss, disappointment,
Hmm.
moments where we question the fairness of life
Yeah.
and wonder why bad things happen.
Right.
Job's story offers us a framework for navigating those difficult emotions,
Okay.
for finding strength and meaning in the face of adversity.
It's like a blueprint for resilience.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
It shows us that even in the face of unimaginable suffering,
Yeah.
even when we don't understand the reasons why,
Right.
it's possible to hold on to hope to find a path forward.
And maybe just maybe that act of questioning,
Yeah.
of wrestling with faith,
Mm-hmm.
is part of what makes us human,
Absolutely.
what connects us to something larger than ourselves.
It's through those struggles,
Yeah.
through those moments of doubt and uncertainty, that we often discover our deepest truths and forge an even stronger connection with our beliefs.
So here's the million-dollar question
Okay?
for you listening out there.
Right.
Imagine yourself in Job's sandals,
Right.
faced with such unimaginable loss.
Yeah.
Would you question your faith,
Mm-hmm.
become bitter,
Right.
or would you, like Job, find a way to persevere,
Yeah.
to hold on to that flicker of hope, even in the darkest of nights?
It's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
Job never received a clear-cut answer for why he suffered,
Right.
but he found peace without all the answers.
Uh-huh.
So if faced with the unexplainable,
Yeah.
could you, like Job, find solace in the mystery,
Right.
in the belief that even in the midst of suffering, there is a greater purpose unfolding?
It's a powerful thought to leave us with.
It is.
Job's story, though ancient,
Yeah.
continues to resonate with us because it speaks to those universal human experiences
Right.
of pain, doubt, and the search for meaning. It
Absolutely.
reminds us that we're not alone in our struggles.
Yeah.
That even in the face of the unknown, there is strength to be found in faith,
Mm-hmm.
resilience, and the unwavering belief that even in the darkest of times, a new dawn awaits.
And that, my friend, is the deep dive on the Book of Job,
Wow.
a timeless tale of suffering, faith, and the enduring power of the human spirit.